Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Gwei Refuel, where I recap the latest news in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm your host, Anthony Sassano, and today's the 19th of May, 2021. Alright, everyone, I'm sure you've been waiting for this episode today. It's been a day, that's for sure. I don't know what to say, really. I'm kind of in disbelief. Obviously, I'm talking about the price here. You can see on the chart that this has been one of the worst dumps in probably in a very long time, I would say. It's gone much lower than most people thought it would. We went actually under 2,000 here at 1,900 at time of recording. I really hope by the time you're watching this, we haven't gone further down than that. Like this is really crazy. I mean, if I switch to the weekly chart here, you can see like the magnitude of kind of like this dump is very similar to what happened with the COVID dump, and that's actually the vibes that kind of like I'm getting right now. Is this feels exactly like the COVID dump from back in March. People getting kind of liquidated everywhere, right? People kind of losing lots of money. People, really panicking, trying to buy dips, but it just keeps falling. And I personally, I mean, don't know what to think over the short term. I didn't expect this. I don't think anyone expected this. There were some people calling for around a $3,000 ETH, right? And they probably, I mean, they were right there, obviously, and they probably got filled there with some buys. But I don't think anyone expected this. And there was no reason for it, really. I mean, I know I spoke about the other day how, as humans, we always try to find reasons for these dumps and things like that. But for dumps of this magnitude in such a short amount of time, you would expect something to trigger it, right? Like we can point to this one and say, okay, well, this was the global kind of sell-off because of the COVID uncertainty. And then you look at this one, you're like, okay, like why did we come down here? Was it because we went up too fast? Which, I mean, we went up really fast, and like I expected the dump off, these levels up here, but myself and pretty much and no one else expected it to go down like this much off that. And you usually don't see that, right? We didn't even see that in all the other previous dumps that we've had, over the last few months. So, or at least even over the last year. Like this is literally like it was back here, which is, yeah, it's definitely giving people pause, I think. I obviously still remain long-term bullish and everything like that. Haven't sold any ETH. I actually dipped into my fiat reserves for the first time in a long time today to buy ETH. I bought it about 2,900, which obviously wasn't ideal because I really did not think it was going to go this deep. But yeah, I don't really, I don't really have any kind of like other things to say, in terms of like words of wisdom or what to do or anything like that. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I always encourage people to just really manage your leverage and not take on too much leverage when you're trading or doing, these sorts of things. Because yeah, it's very easy to kind of get wiped out on these dumps, and I've seen many people get wiped out on them. So I really encourage you, if you are playing with leverage, to play it really safe at the end of the day. Like, whenever I take out a leverage position, my liquidation price right now is like $700, right? It is really low. And, not to say that it can't go to there, right? But, like, that would be really bad. What we just saw was really bad. And, some people are saying, oh, well, that's the bull market done. It's over. We're going into another 2-year bear market. I honestly don't think so. And this is just my opinion. I could be totally off base and wrong here, but this bull market to me the entire time has felt very different to 2017, like very different. And all the charts that you can kind of look at, and people try to compare it, they try to compare 2017 to today and trying to find patterns and things like that. That's fine. But I think in terms of just like general, not just market structure, but general kind of like attention around crypto and how crypto's been going, and like, crypto becoming more legitimate as a platform, especially Ethereum and things like that. I think that plays a big role, but those are more longer term things. I don't think it's a short term thing. Short term, I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. I've never claimed to know what's going to happen short term. Most people don't, right? But yeah, I guess, long term, I'm still really bullish. I don't know if we're going to go into, I mean, this damage here has been pretty brutal. Like we could go into a sideways / down movement for months from here. I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe it doesn't happen. I'm not playing it in any particular way. I'm not buying or selling assets or doing anything like that. I'm definitely not, taking on leverage to try to play these kinds of things. And, right now the market is like super crazy. Even just like on chain, you can see here the gas prices are at 2,000 Gwei. That means a lot of people are currently like super scared, and they're trying to close their positions, their on-chain kind of like leverage positions and things like that, so that it don't get liquidated. There's a lot of arbitrage going on between the different exchanges and things like that. So yeah, I think, this is going to be the highest volume dump in history for crypto, I believe, because there's so much money in the system now. I believe it'll be the highest 24-hour fee revenue for the Ethereum network ever. Because 2,000 Gwei, that's a crazy kind of price there. And I just believe that this is going to be a day that's etched into a lot of people's minds. Think about the last few months, how many new people have come into this ecosystem. They haven't experienced anything like this. Like, you can just look on the chart. They have never experienced, I mean, if we kind of measure it from top to what it went to the bottom here, that was a 57% drop in 2 weeks, right? Like, this is, I mean, not even 2 weeks. This is the 10th of May, 9 days. We had a 56% drop in 9 days. That is not something that, most people have experienced, right? And this is just ETH. Like, a lot of the other things are down, about this amount, if not more. And people are going to get scared off. Definitely people are going to get scared off here. There's institutions that are now underwater. Like, think about Elon Musk with his Tesla Bitcoin buy. Definitely underwater at this price. I don't think they're so reactionary that they're going to sell the bottom or anything like that. But who knows, right? And who knows where the buying pressure is going to come from, immediately now. Everyone's like, buy the dip, and you see these kind of wicks playing out, or people try to buy the dip and then it keeps going lower because of the fact that people keep getting liquidated because they're buying the dip on leverage and stuff like that. And then, yeah, if you just like structurally look at the chart here, I mean, the monthly chart looks pretty bad. But we've seen this before, remember the 2100 to 1300 dip, but I think this dip feels a bit differently to that one. I think that one, I pretty much everyone I knew was just laughing it off and thought that it was like, just a hilarious dip to buy. This dip feels different. Like, the sentiment that I'm seeing, people are genuinely scared this time. So, whether that's a signal that, this is like a local bottom and we're going to continue higher, I don't know. As I said, not playing the short-term kind of markets here. And long-term still bullish. Long-term still plenty of catalysts for ETH, coming around and things like that. But I'm not going to tell you that if you buy now, you're going to, double your money tomorrow or anything like that. I don't know when, what the bounce is going to be like here, or how much it's going to bounce or anything like that. So yeah, just wanted to kind of get in front of a lot of questions that I'm sure are going to pop up, over the coming days about what happened. There was no trigger, really. At the end of the day, there was no trigger. There was just, it started dumping, and then it kept dumping, and then fear kicked in, and it kept dumping. You had cascading liquidations going on, and then extreme fear kicked in, and it kept dumping, and blah, 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 And then eventually the market, always finds a bottom. It's not going to zero. Like, anyone who's saying it's going to zero is joking, or they're just like totally off base. It's not going to zero. That's just dumb. But, there's no telling what happens from here. Do we go into a bear market? Do we go into a bull market? Do we continue the bull market? Who knows, right? Maybe this is just a different kind of cycle. Maybe we just have like a longer cycle playing out now, where it doesn't play out like the other ones did, which I think is actually true. Because if you look at them, I mean, just the structure of these monthly charts on the 2017 kind of bull market for ETH, they went up a lot quicker, right? This just seems a lot more gradual, like in terms of like magnitude. Even though we've gone up to some pretty crazy prices. So maybe we just get a longer bull market, right? Maybe we just get a longer, maybe the market's actually, ironically, the market's actually maturing to a point where we are able to quickly clear out a lot of these kind of like, a lot of this toxic leverage in the system, quickly clear out the quote unquote weak hands. And we can continue up from here much quicker than that. So we basically have like mini bears and bull cycles instead of like one grand cycle. So we'll see what happens. As I said, I've said this a few times already, but I don't have any special knowledge. Anyone claiming to have any special knowledge on Twitter is kidding themselves. No one saw this coming. Absolutely no one. I follow a bunch of traders. I follow investors. I follow a lot of smart people. Absolutely no one saw this, and anyone who tells you otherwise is just LARPing, or just basically faking it out. Maybe there's like one trader that I haven't seen that put some like chart out there that said it would go back to this price, just like a random guess. A broken clock is right twice a day and all that sort of stuff. But generally, yeah, this was bad in terms of like catching people off guard. I'm curious to see where we go from here. But anyway, I think I'm gonna leave it at that, because there's not much else I can say here. I don't have any special insights. I did put out a tweet here that said, in hindsight, the dog tokens were a pretty amazing top signal. And generally, I mean, not so much the dog tokens, but more specifically, I guess, the general froth in like the shitcoin market, I guess you could call it, in the scam market, in the dead zombie chain market. That I mean, to me personally, I saw that and I was like, this is just insane. Like, and then I was thinking to myself, surely this we're gonna have to pay for this somehow. Surely we're gonna have a pullback. And then when we did have the pullback, I was like, okay, this is healthy, right? This is clearing out a lot of this kind of like crap that's been going on. But then we kept falling, and I'm like, okay, and then we kept falling again, and we kept falling, and who knows if it stopped by the time you watch this video? Maybe we've fallen even further. I hope not, but I think that, in hindsight, right, it's a pretty amazing top signal. But as I said, as I explained the other day, these are just humans. I'm human. I'm looking for signals in the noise. I'm looking for reasons why. But at the end of the day, maybe there isn't a reason why. Maybe it was just a random thing that happened and was going to happen anyway, and people are just going to have to deal with it. So that's that. I think I want to move on to some more positive news. Actually, I think I have one more tweet here from Ash here, who said that, and he posted this before all the big dumps happened, but he said that, BTC inflows to exchanges have been quite large, whereas ETH outflows have been large. So it's kind of like a flip there. Now, Personally, I actually think this whole dump was BTC led. I think BTC has been weak for quite a while because it, kind of rejected 64K, rejected going into price discovery again. And then came back down, broke through all those psychological levels, broke through 40K, almost broke through 30K. I don't think it actually broke through 30K if I check my charts here. No, wow, holy crap. I'm just looking at the chart now. It wicked off 30K. Oh my God. I'm just looking at the charts up here. There's some insane wicks going on now. So, and what a wick means, basically, I'm looking at the 1 hour charts. And when you look at a candle, there's like the body of the candle, and then there's the wick. If something's like wicking up, right, from a price, it means there was like it just bounced really hard because there was a lot of people buying at that price. But you can also have like wicks down where a lot of people were selling, and like all of that really positive price action was kind of erased there. But yeah, I'm just looking at it now. So BTC did actually touch 30K there. ETH went to, I think maybe 1800 or something like that, depending on what exchange you look at. I usually look at Coinbase Pro, but I'm just looking at the charts now, but I'll leave it at that for now. But as I said, I think that, this was definitely BTC led. I don't know. I don't know how institutions are going to treat this. Are they going to look at these markets and be like, holy shit, like this stuff just fell 50% in a couple of weeks. Can we actually put money into this? Like, how risky is this? Who knows? We'll see. But still good stats here from Ash, who kind of like spotted these BTC inflows and ETH outflows here. But I'm going to leave it at that, I think, and move on to the next piece of news here, which is that Cathie Wood's ARK investment holding company here is holding the Grayscale Ethereum Trust and has about 639,000 shares, which I think at current prices equates to $2 million maybe? I'm actually not sure what the current ETH price is. I'm just scrolling through the comments to see if there's any prices here. But anyway, it's a few $1 million, I think, of ETH here, which is really cool to see that Cathie owns ETH, because she owns BTC as well, or her fund at least owns BTC as well. So it makes sense here. That's a positive signal too. I think generally it's just a positive signal that these institutions are even buying this sort of stuff to begin with. It's, as you've seen, it's still very, very risky. Who knows if they're going to keep buying stuff now? Maybe they will. Maybe they'll buy the dip, right? Like, everyone wants to buy the dip. Institutions are the same. Like, they're made up of people. Maybe they want to. Maybe they think this is a steal. Who knows? But yeah, it's still really cool to see kind of Cathie. See R kind of put out this kind of announcement today that they're holding some ETH through the Grayscale Ethereum Trust here. So there was a great blog post put out today from the Ethereum Foundation researcher Carl here, who basically said that Ethereum, the TLDR of the blog post is that Ethereum will use at least 99.95% less energy once the ETH1 to ETH2 merger goes through. Now, obviously, this is because it's going to be proof of stake and not proof of work. And the way Carl came to this number is that he basically did a bunch of research here. He definitely made some assumptions, but put together some nice charts and, explained his reasoning in this blog post. So if you want to read this, it'll be linked in the YouTube description, of course, but I think this is another reason, actually, just going back to price for a bit, but I think this is relevant. I think this is another reason why BTC has been so weak lately, is because of this really bad narrative around its energy use. Because I don't think, as I've explained before, that war can be won. I do think it's going to be a very poor narrative going forward for quite a while for Bitcoin. I do think Bitcoin is becoming a little bit poisonous to hold because of it, whether that's poisonous for institutions or individuals or whatever. And I do think there are a lot of people who are going to avoid buying Bitcoin because of its energy usage. On the other hand, when ETH merges, ETH1 merges with ETH2, we won't have this problem anymore. And that's actually one of the major reasons why I'm bullish on Ethereum, like more long term, is because Ethereum doesn't have to deal with this. It doesn't have to be bucketed in with this anymore. And Ethereum can, once the merge happens, we can now advertise Ethereum as being, green and eco-friendly. And we have stuff to back it up. And it's very simple for us to say, well, Ethereum doesn't use mining. It uses this other thing, which doesn't use, it uses way less electricity. And that's just a very simple explanation, rather than Bitcoiners trying to, explain to people, oh, well, Bitcoin encourages renewable energy research. Bitcoin, it doesn't actually use as much energy as you think it does. Bitcoin's good for the planet, blah, blah, blah. As I've said before, that's too complex, right? That's just doesn't lend itself to an easy explanation. It doesn't lend itself to an easy narrative. And at the end of the day, narratives and memes rule the world. So if you can't explain something simply to a mass group of people, you're going to lose the narrative war. And I think Bitcoin will lose that narrative war on the energy usage front here. So that's another reason why I'm super bullish on Ethereum. But anyway, if you want to see like an accurate breakdown of it and how Carl came to these numbers, definitely check out this blog post here. So Synthetix had some really great and bullish news yesterday, where they basically, Kane, the founder and CEO, put out a blog post detailing kind of the future for Synthetix here and what they're actually kind of going down and what paths they're going down. So I think the major updates were an update on layer 2 that they're saying in the next few weeks there's going to be exchange functionality on their layer 2, which is Optimism, for those of you who don't know. So that's going to be cool to see Optimism kind of like working and live in the wild here. But also they announced that they're actually spinning out a bunch of projects from the Synthetix umbrella into independent projects. So there's actually going to be 4 of them, I think. So there's one called Thales, and I think I'm not sure if it's detailed anywhere, but each of these projects do different things here. Some of them do options, some of them do other things, but the article explains this all. But anyway, there are 4 projects called Thales, Lyra, Alien, and Quenta, and Quenta's live today. And they'll all have their own token, and these tokens will be distributed to SNX stakers. Now, Quenta is actually a front end an interface that's built on top of Synthetix that makes it really easy to trade on the Synthetix platform. I think Alien is like a treasury platform or something like that, or a fundraise platform from memory. Either Thales or Lyra is the options protocol platform, and then something else. I can't remember exactly what it is. But anyway, if you're an SNX holder, this news would make you very happy. I know I am very happy. I would love to get, obviously my hands on some tokens here, but I think this is really cool just from like a experimentation point of view and, from a Synthetix fundamentals point of view as well. But I'm most... I'm most excited for the layer 2 stuff that's happening, exchanging on layer 2, doing kind of synth swaps and things like that. Actually, I'm just looking at the screenshots now. So Lyra is as a native L2 options protocol, which is really, really cool. And I don't know, Thales, decentralized options on more than synth price speculation. So sport outcomes, elections, flipping. Okay, really, really cool to see that as well. So, yeah, if you're a fan of Synthetix, definitely go read that blog post. It is on Kane's Twitter. You'll be able to find it there very easily. So CyberHokey put out a really great tweet thread today, kind of fighting back against this tweet from this person named Emperor BTC here, where he tweeted, Ethereum maximalists act the same way Bitcoin maximalists act to high fees, slow transactions, and lack of scaling criticism. It's the tech you support, not the cult. Accept innovations, be open to new doors. Adoption can't be paved with slow $300 transactions. Now, Anti-Prosynthesis also replied here where he said, most scalability R&D today converges to Ethereum. You can be both excited about the high demand that high fees signify and be critical about the inclusivity of such high fees. Meanwhile, transacting BTC on Bitcoin is still more expensive than transacting ETH on Ethereum. So I think that kind of TLDRs it quite well. But CyberHokey goes into further detail here, where he basically has a thread, and he starts the thread by saying, this is false. Ethereum is full of people working on these, not throwing their hands in the air and pivoting to narratives that disregard the issues. Ethereum is slow, Ethereum is expensive, Ethereum under proof of work is wasteful. Ethereum acknowledges this and is working desperately to fix all of this. I think this is like totally accurate, and I couldn't have said it better myself. Not once have I seen anyone in the Ethereum ecosystem say that Ethereum is perfect, that high fees for end users are perfect, that we shouldn't scale, that we shouldn't get off proof of work. That is the beauty of Ethereum and the whole Ethereum ecosystem, both in the developer ecosystem and just the general community part of it. we all believe that Ethereum needs to improve, that Ethereum is not perfect, that we can keep doing things to make Ethereum the absolute best blockchain or decentralized blockchain in existence. And we'll keep working to do things like making ETH the best asset in existence. And that's exactly what happens, right? Like Ethereum's monetary policy isn't just sticking to one thing where we basically say, oh, well, okay, let's just stick to, just perpetual issuance forever and throw our hands up and then we're done, right? And it'll just be arbitrary, whatever we decide. No, what Ethereum did was we did a lot of kind of like the community and like the researchers did a lot of deep diving into what works, right? So then we came up with like the perpetual issuance under ETH2 with staking and also EIP 1559. That works to improve a number of different things which I've gone through before. And then outside of that, the layer 2 stuff, right? We took multiple tracks to scaling Ethereum. There are rollups, there are side chains, there are commit chains, there's Plasma, there's all these sorts of things, right? And there's multiple teams tackling this. There's like 10 plus teams at the very least, tackling this. I think there's more than that now. There's probably like 20 teams now that are tackling scaling in layer 2 scaling in some way, and even more that are tackling scaling in other kind of means. So when you kind of like take that, holistic approach, you can see that, Ethereum is very critical of itself and is very open to improving itself. And on top of all of that, we've been working on proof of stake since 2014. We didn't give up on it. We never threw in the towel. We didn't just say, oh, well, this is just the way Ethereum's going to be. We're just going to be on proof of work forever. We did not do that. So, just going through all of this stuff right now is making me really bullish. Like, this is the kind of stuff when people tell you to focus on the fundamentals, think in years, not days, right? Because none of this stuff changes with the price moving. Literally none of it, right? The price of ETH from 2014 went from 30 cents to like $10 $20 I think in 2016 to like $7 to $1,400 to $80 to $4,400 to $20 whatever it is now, $300. And literally none of this changed regarding proof of stake, right? Moving to proof of stake, that kept building the entire time. Scaling in layer 2 kept building the entire time. DeFi kept building the entire time. And this is what people mean when they say focus on these things. This is how you don't get shaken out during these dumps, especially dumps like this where fear is at an all-time high. It's just destroyed everyone. Your portfolio is down 50%, right? And you're just like underwater and you're thinking, is this it? Is this all over? Well, if you're looking at the charts and depending on what time frame, you might feel like the world is ending, but then you take a step back and look at all the fundamentals and you might be like, wait a second. This is all real, right? 1559 is still coming. The merge is still coming. DeFi is still going to change the world. All of this scaling is coming and everything like that. So taking that kind of like long-term view there is what I do and what I do a lot of the time, and is extremely important to recenter yourself. And, I know it can be very hard to sometimes think of this, especially when, you're seeing things play out in the markets and you're just like, your mind's just on the chart, right? And this is why I encourage people to close the charts. On days like today, what I like to do is I literally just minimize all my charts and I just sit here at my computer. Some of my screens are blank, right? I have my charts on 2 screens above me here. I literally have had them closed most of the day. And then only, recently when I saw that my friends were messaging me like, holy crap, what's happening? I was like, I looked at the charts and looked at the prices. I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting here. Because for your mental health, even if you're a long-term thinker, it can get to you, right? Like no one wants to see their portfolio drop 50%. Like imagine if your portfolio was like $1 million and it drops 50%. Like, you've made a lot of money. $1 million is life-changing money for like more than life-changing money for a lot of people. And you see that drop 50% in a couple of days, of course you're going to feel sick, right? Of course you're going to feel really, really, really bad. And of course you're going to forget all the positive things happening. But at the end of the day, you need to just take a step back. You need to close the charts. Unless you're a trader, there is literally no point looking at the charts. Unless you had planned to sell, had sell targets in mind, no point. You don't even have to look at the charts to have sell targets in mind. If you want to sell and take profits, put some limit orders up on a centralized exchange because you want to go to fiat, right? But you can do it on DEXs as well if you want to go to stablecoins. But if you want to go to fiat, put some limit orders up. Say to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to take profits when ETH hits this price and this price and this price. And you don't even have to look at the charts. You can literally come back one day and be like, oh, well, okay, I see the price went to this, and go to your, exchange account and you'll see like this money sitting in there for you and be like, oh, I'm glad that I set those limit orders now and took profits when I should have. And that's the way to do it, but I know that it's hard because not only do you have to ignore the charts if you want to avoid the price talk, but you have to ignore Twitter, you have to ignore the refuel, right? You have to ignore my newsletters. So much of this ecosystem is focused on price, and for good reason, I think, because price drives a lot of activity in this ecosystem and things like that. But at the end of the day, you've got to recenter yourself sometimes. So anyway, I'll leave it at that for now. I think CL had a related tweet here where he said, he basically put out this tweet where he said, the first of many L2s alive next week, Arbitrum on May 28th at their DevNet. Coinbase Wallet is integrating Ethereum's layer 2. So will many others. ETH proof of stake in 6 months. He's being a bit ambitious there. I think maybe 6 to 12 months here when the merger happens. All internet culture is being priced in by NFTs on Ethereum. The masses are now warming up and talking about crypto because of Doge. And if you can't see where this is going, well, we can't help you. And you can see this. This is the adoption curve for technologies. They start off slow, right? And slower than you would think. And then they just go exponential. Humans have a very hard time grasping exponential growth and have a very, very hard time coming to terms with it. But this is what's going to happen in terms of adoption. This is exactly what I was just talking about. The prices don't change this, right? The building still happens. It still goes on. But yeah, I just spoke about all that, so I won't go into that again. But just something relevant, I think, here from CL, which I thought was pretty cool. So speaking of layer 2, Matt Finestone put out a friendly reminder here to say that as Ethereums, we'd be wise to remember L2 means inheriting Ethereum level security, and that means paying Ethereum for that security in ETH. Loopring just had its all-time high paying tolls to Ethereum, $45,000 in gas fees in one day to submit their ZK rollup blocks. So this is exactly how a true layer 2 works. And this is what I've spoken about before, where the end users themselves aren't going to be paying these high fees. It's going to be the layer 2s. And the layer 2s are fine doing it because they generate income in their own way, whether that's from fees on layer 2 or some other kind of way happening there. So this is really cool. And obviously post 155.9, these fees are going to be burned as well. So, and this is going to keep happening. And Loopring's only one rollup. We're going to have potentially hundreds of rollups, right? Maybe even thousands of rollups. I don't know. Paying these security fees to Ethereum, which I think is going to be really cool. And I'm really, really excited to see how that shakes out there. But yeah, I'm going to leave that at that for now. Move on to this tweet from Zak Cole. Just wanted to give a quick shout out here that Zak is looking for a Solidity developer for SlingShot Crypto, of which he is a CTO and co-founder. They're a decentralized exchange. They're doing a lot of good work. Just a disclaimer, I am a seed investor in SlingShot, but for good reason. They have an amazing team, really fun people over there. So definitely, if you're a Solidity developer and you want to build dope stuff, as Zak says here, definitely a DM Zak. I'll leave the link to this tweet in the YouTube description. Finally, I have a transaction here of someone who bought a lot of ETH on using DEXs yesterday. And this was passed on to me by someone through DMs. And it's funny because when he passed it on to me, I think the ETH value was over 60 million here that had been bought, or maybe like 69 million or something. And now it's down a lot since then. Maybe it's up more. Let's see. Is the ETH price... Oh, wow, the ETH price is back over 2,500, and this is at 50 million now. Okay, it doesn't look as bad. But anyway, they used DEXs to buy this ETH here. You can see that they used USDT, and they basically, I think they went to 1 inch. You can see here, 1 inch V3, and then you can see in the internal transactions. And this was a new address, it looks like. It was only created about 3 days ago here. So yeah, cool to see there's some really, really big buyers buying ETH here. Could this be an institution? I don't know. We'll see. But they bought at the wrong time, I think. They could have waited just 24 hours and they would have gotten a better price. But maybe this doesn't matter in the long run. Maybe when ETH goes to 10K plus, they're like, oh, well, we got a good entry anyway. But anyway, I've spoken about price a lot today. I know how you all feel right now. I feel the same way, but hopefully the worst is behind us. Back to 2,500. Maybe we did finally bounce. I mean, that's a pretty epic bounce. I mean, if I open my charts again here, I can see, wow, we went from 1860 on Coinbase Pro to 2600 in the last hour. So maybe the worst is behind us. I hope so. I hope you all are keeping your head on. I hope you didn't get liquidated. I hope you're doing okay. I know it can be scary, but at the end of the day, are you in it for the technology? Are you in it for the money? You can be in it for both, but if you're in it for the tech as well, then focus on the fundamentals. Recenter yourself. Watch the refuel. Read my newsletters, because I always try to focus on the fundamentals of things happening here. and just stay the course. Long term, really, really bullish. Short term is noise. That's all I can say. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you all for listening and watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Give that video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the newsletter. Join the Discord channel. Actually, join the Discord channel because it's absolutely popping lately. Seriously, if you haven't done so yet, you're missing out on so much alpha and good conversations going on in there. Just join it. You can join the prices channel as well in there and cope with us when the dumps are happening. It's quite fun. I actually enjoy it. It's entertaining. But anyway, that's it for today. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.